Hi. If you don't know me, my name's Hunter Proven, and I'm the developer of PhyloGeographer. Thanks very much for being my patron, either for being my patron for a long time or just anyone who just became a patron. Um, I'm a developer of free to use analytical tools such as PhyloGeographer, which computes theoretical male line origins, migration paths, and more recently, Y heat map, where you can look up a SNP and see the relative frequency distribution of people that are positive for that mutation all over the world. Um, it's been a while since I've done a done a video update. Sorry about that. I've been I'm in Georgia. We've done some remodeling. Hope your retinas aren't getting burned from this light, but I have to sit next to the heater. We've done some remodeling to this room to keep me warmer in the wintertime, insulation and stuff like that. Uh, some interesting updates. It took a while for YFull to do the last update to version 8.10, but they've added a lot of ancient samples, and I have updated my scripts to read all the ancient samples and take the ancestor the age of the ancient sample, how many hundreds or thousands of years ago the ancient samples lived. That is taken into account by the PhyloGeographer algorithm. And if you look on the Y heat map, and if you zoom in close enough, then you'll see the Y full ID of these ancient samples. Uh, it's good now that WIFO is providing the regional code for most of their ancient samples now. They weren't doing that in the past. And if you mouse over the sample, it shows how many years ago it was. The word age shows how many years ago it was. Some exciting news. While the algorithm that computes the theoretical migrations has not changed for several months, behind the scenes, I have contacted my former probability professor from the University of Virginia, and she's interested and already working with me to develop some probabilistic proofs that that can and will guide the next version of the algorithm, PhyloGeographer, and I'm in talks with a anthropologist. I'll keep his identity secret for now, but I believe that he's going to collaborate with us too, which will be great because while I'm really enthusiastic and interested in Y chromosome, Y lineage migrations, and maternal lineage migrations, that's also interesting. Um, while I'm really interested in this, I'm not a biologist. I'm not a geneticist. I'm not a historian. This is really a really interesting branch of science or knowledge, or it is science, where the fusion of many different skill sets is required to get the most complete picture of the past. And I'm an engineer. I studied systems engineering. I worked as a software engineer and data scientist um, at several different companies before deciding that I wanted to kind of do my own thing, applying uh, applying big data techniques to this large amount of data we have of Y chromosome samples. So yeah, what was I saying? I was saying it's important that I get somebody who's an anthropologist and PhD to work with me and contribute to the algorithm, the prediction algorithm that predicts what was the migration based on what samples we have now and topography, a future version, we're going to incorporate topography for sure. So some mountains that are impassable, there's no migrations ever going to go through there. Um, so yeah, it's important that that I have this guy work with me, and and um, 2021. This is we're gonna make this happen this year in the next few months. I'm gonna make a simulation of propagation on a map of Y chromosome lineages based on very simplistic rules that, however, while they are simplistic, they will model uh, the effects of, for example, a localized climate change, an abrupt type of climate change might cause an area to have lower carrying capacity because the, what do you call it, biomass will be lower, so less human beings can live in this area. That impacts how people migrate. They're going to have to either move away or they won't be able to have as many children. Uh, also, what I will model is disease could kill a lot of people within a certain area. Um, I'm even going to have some some type of kinship based warfare that will just be really as simple as you can possibly model it. If people are related to one another within third degree cousins or something like that, then when they come across some in a new area, some people that they're not related to, that they will engage, they will fight together against the other men. And whoever has more people will win using some simplistic probabilistic method. But the women, they're not going to kill the women. And this is just what happens in over time. Um, and and anyway, this simulation is not supposed to show, hey, this simulation is actually what all the different Y chromosome lineages that we see today are. No, this simulation is just going to be completely random. It's going to have completely random. It's not going to have haplogroup R. It's not going to have haplogroup Q. It's just some random haplogroups that don't exist, that only exist in this simulation. But it is a ground truth that shows what a Y chromosome propagation over time, over space, could look like based on these simplistic rules. And this is the ground truth that's so elusive that I'm going to use to train the new version of PhyloGeographer, so that error, meaning how far away was the actual ancestor living from where it was theoretically computed to be by the prediction model, that will be minimized based on this ground truth. Okay, so thanks so much for your support, and I'm gonna try harder to keep more in touch and make more posts like this, updating you of the progress. Um, Thank you, and feel free to reach out to me. I don't check Patreon messages every day, uh, but I do get, it does forward me an email whenever somebody sends a message. If I haven't responded to you in a week or so, just send me another email. I really want to answer everybody, and sometimes I just get sidetracked. I'm in contact with a lot of people. This isn't a full-time job for me. This is something I do with part of my time. Uh, I also develop software, um, and I do consultation for people that want to find who their male line relatives might be, where they are from, by looking at their Y chromosome matches, by looking at their STRs, I've developed a really cool tool that I use for my own haplogroup research called STR Match Finder. Uh, Thomas Kron helped me develop this, and he's funded part of some of the innovations that I've made there. This helps you find distant yet reliable male line relatives on the basis of their STRs, sharing relatively rare STR alleles and having a relatively lower genetic distance. This tool that I made helps visualize this, so you don't have to. You don't have to just, if you're a haplogroup administrator, you don't just look at a spreadsheet and spend hours poring over numbers. This gives you a visual. Uh, it shows the signature, basically STR signature. Some people will have like a what I call smoking gun STR allele signature, which means you share so many relatively rare in your haplogroup alleles with people that are your next closest by genetic distance relatives. They appear to be your relatives by genetic distance, but on top of that, they have this set of very rare alleles that you have. Uh, if you have enough very rare alleles with somebody and they are among your closest total genetic distance matches, it's basically a smoking gun that, yeah, they are your most recent closest male line relatives. Um, Of course, you should confirm by SNP testing um, if you want to. But sometimes you can just assume, yeah, they're my relatives. Like one guy that I've been helping, him and his next closest relatives that might be so distantly related as to being 2,000 years distantly related. This is J2B, my haplogroup, J2B, L283, one specific subclade of theirs. This one guy from Holland, and the other guys are from England, but they have such a unique uh, uh, I want to say DYS 413 palindrome, that they're the only ones in all of J2 that have this DYS 413. And they have some other rare alleles too. When you have uh, when you have a smoking gun signature like that, where nobody else in your entire haplogroup has this allele, and you have multiple rare alleles like that, they're your relative. You're really lucky. You're really lucky that you'll be able to, just based on the STRs, find very distant relatives that otherwise, if you're just looking at genetic distance, you would never know it. Genetic distance that they show in family tree DNA matches. It's good if they're close enough related to you that they show up, but uh, for haplogroup research, you want to know where your ancestors came from. You have to know exactly, you need to find everybody. You need to find people that are more distantly related to you than 500 years. You have to go 1,000 years out, 1,500, 2,000 years out, 3,000 years out. I'm disappointed in how family tree DNA, when you do big Y, you're not allowed to contact your closest relatives if you're like 1,500 years distantly related or more. It really sucks for my haplogroup J2. We did really well in the Neolithic. Well, different branches did different branches have different stories, different success rates at different times. J2's so old. This is like 30,000 years or maybe older. I can't remember. I don't even operate back that far back. I'm only really, my working knowledge of history and Y chromosome lineages just goes back like 10,000 years max. But all sorts of really interesting things happened before then. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thanks so much for being my patron. And I also I consult um, at the hourly rate is $40 per hour. If just contact me if you want to talk, if you want me to help you answer stuff about your mail line. Thanks. Cheers from Georgia in the Caucasus.